Welcome back, everybody. We got Will and Ironman here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about digital matter theory.
And NATs.
And NATs.
It's that time of the week. We got a lot of things we've been tracking, dude.
Yeah, so far, we're doing like weekly roundups of ordinals and bitmap.
Yeah, it all started with ordinals.
I don't know if we need to do one for DMT, but
I think we're getting enough like inquiry of what's going on. How's the ecosystem proliferating? You guys got any updates as far as like MScribe?
Right.
When indexing for new elements and such. So I think there is like a valid case to kind of like do these weekly updates. I don't know. You guys let us know. Is this absolute a snooze fest for you guys? Are you guys tired of hearing about like this digital matter stuff?
Yeah.
Is this like complete buffoonery? I'd rather know more about L2 airdrops. Let us know, dude, because that's tomorrow's video. We're talking about L2s and such. You know? We already have it on our brain docket. You know? But for now, let's explore, dude. Let's do that DMT pill stuff.
Yeah. So over the weekend, I was brushing up on my thermodynamics.
Oh, as one does. Over the weekend, right?
And it turns out that people are really thinking like we are, like our digital physicists, like Navigator.
Oh yeah. There's other people out there that spend their weekends thinking of thermodynamics, I'm sure. And they're coming up, they're concocting like what are they concocting exactly? Like how are they thinking like us? What do you mean?
Well, in the sense that they see what we see, and they see the elements as like a form of like a digital periodic table.
Right. Yeah. We always had that vision in mind, right?
I mean, that's why we call it elements, right? Because
we could have called it literally anything. Yeah. Like the formalization of recognizing patterns that exist on chain, data patterns to be specific, is like, what do you call that? Could have been called pattern.
Yeah.
Dot sequence or something.
Yeah. I mean, this always had a
dot energy. I don't know.
This always had like a foundation in like physics, right, from the beginning, just because we knew that there was like physics at play here, like to a certain extent. Now that we're getting deeper into thermodynamics, like we didn't really equate one for one when we launched this thing, but I'm starting to see the bigger picture, right? And everybody talking about it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely coming from like the discussions from within the community, right? It's starting to make sense, and then incorporating the energy structuring of what Bitcoin actually is. It is like the largest energy aggregation system,
exactly.
Like I would say. So it's like that. You factor that into what's actually being like the transition of like of value through that that system.
Yeah,
that's what Bitcoin really is. It's a system, right?
Absolutely. Everything is really a system. Like your room. Yeah. It's like this is how I explained it to some of the family members trying to explain thermodynamics.
Oh, God, that must have been awful. It must have been a horrible time. I guarantee it.
Well, let's see. Let me, because I don't know if I explained this one to you.
Okay.
But
no, probably not.
Imagine you have a room, right? Mm-hmm. And in that room, when you put no energy into that system, meaning you do nothing to your room, it's going to get dirtier.
Yeah.
Right. So that means entropy goes up. That's what happens in this second law. Is like as time goes on, entropy goes up. It gets messier in that room.
That's interesting. Okay.
So what happens with a messy room? You can't really utilize that room.
I could, but most people wouldn't want to.
Well,
right?
if it was extremely, extremely messy, you probably couldn't.
I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do? You have to clean the room. You have to put energy into the system. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And then once that room is clean, then you can use it again, right? For a podcast or put a desk in there or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So and that's what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin is a system where miners are putting energy into that system. Mm-hmm. And the result is you have a lower entropy state with the Bitcoin network, meaning the entire blockchain is that low entropy state. And so you can leverage low entropy states as we have in the past, such as fossil fuels and oil, which humans are leveraging that low entropy state because of a result of like physics, which is a natural process that produced fossil fuels, that produced oil. Mm-hmm. So we leverage that as humans to take that oil, take that fossil fuel, burn the shit out of it, and create electricity and everything that we had.
Yeah. Fuel our whole industry, basically.
So now you can sort of align this. Like we have Bitcoin, energy being put into the system, just like Earth put its energy into a system to create fossil fuels. You can leverage Bitcoin's blockchain as a low entropy state, like a fossil fuel, like in oil.
Correct.
And so that's why we have it. And so now we have Navigator here. It's like, yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's sort of like we're getting a digital periodic table,
Mm.
right? And so all these elements were formed through this this natural process, right? So we have like a depiction of what this looks like digitally, at least like the starting elements of it.
Yeah, which is very interesting from my eyes. I wondered, you know, what is the digital version of the periodic table of elements going to look like? It was kind of like a struggle to imagine that, because we knew there could be like a pretty large discoverable presence of patterns within Bitcoin's data, right? Much larger than, you know, atom structures that we've, I guess, identified.
Yeah.
Atomic structures.
100%. Yeah. There could be hundreds and hundreds of these digital elements.
Correct. Maybe even thousands one day.
Yeah.
So, and they probably will be. Right now, I think we're hovering like around 60-ish or something like that. And that's only off of one field.
Correct. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's like 30, 40 fields that can contribute to more pattern discovery. So, yeah, we're talking about a pretty robust table here. But this one that Navigator's put together, this is more like the element field table, which still has its own like beauty to it and its own application and utility for it, right? Like if you want to create anything of actual, I guess, substance, right? You can kind of pull from whatever corner of this table as you wish, right? It's been like nice and color schemed.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Like you're saying, this is like the universe kind of did this on its own, right? Like it packaged elements into like a more orderly structuring that we can kind of like harness for our own benefit.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And so in that structuring, it's we're going to show you this article here called Octaves, but essentially we have block data, transaction data, input data. These are all like the fields of Bitcoin, and they're color coded here. And so imagine once these elements are actually out there, there's going to be tons of block data elements, tons of transaction elements and input data and all that stuff. So this is sort of like a kind of like an early look at, you know, what's potentially happening here. Yeah. And so you did your own historical research over the weekend.
Yeah, over the weekend I was looking into the history of chemistry, as one does.
Okay.
Right? So, and I was like, damn, dude, this is kind of fascinating. I wanted to know, like, okay, there was a point in time in history where humans, they felt the need to order, like, the composable units of the universe, a.k.a. elements, right? We know these things exist. Yeah. But we don't really know enough about them. We don't have them, like, neatly categorized and like formally recognized so that we could form a cohesive, like, you know, scientific process around this, right? Sure. AKA chemistry and physics and such. So I was like, damn, I wonder who did all that. So here he is, a Russian chemist, Dmitry Mendeleev, in 1869. Yeah. He's a little rough around the edges, this lad. Probably for good reason, because he probably had many sleepless nights trying to like think, how the fuck do I arrange this thing? Yeah. He's like, oh, let's start with hydrogen. How about I just assign hydrogen like the
first one?
This is just one. This is like the mass of hydrogen. This is one. That way we can contextualize everything we find here on out. Yeah. And reference hydrogen is like, that is the base unit, the base element. Everything is in context to hydrogen. Yeah. And then from that, you can kind of derive an order. Yeah. Right? And somehow all the elements are just like, what is it again? The weight, like the mass of an element is essentially its protons, neutrons, and electrons. Okay, yeah, that's all. We don't need to know all that.
Yeah. So while arranging the elements according to their atomic weight, if he found that did not fit the group, he would rearrange them. So basically, he said everyone understood that each element had an atomic weight. So let's just put them in order, and then let's just see how it looks. And then if things didn't line up, he would just kind of shift the periodic table around to make it make sense.
Correct. So that's what stuck out to me, like this line specifically, creating the framework that became the periodic table, leaving gaps for elements that were yet to be discovered. So that was it. I was like, damn, it's essentially what we've done. Right, we're putting out this digital matter theory, putting out the initial framework for pattern recognition, and then, of course, we found the first one with the DMT element. Like, this is it. This is well, as far as like what we're putting out, as far as like the first attempt at creating a framework for other people to find the remaining gaps of patterns that exist on Bitcoin's, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, energy layer. So It's working. That's the most exciting part. Like we're not the ones out there just manually discovering all these things on our own.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people generating these elements that are currently not being indexed, but they're perfectly fine, right? As soon as the indexing is online, they're going to be listed, and they're all there. So I think there's a lack of like in importance in like discovering these elements.
I think so too. I feel very passionately. I think the element discovery,
because they're one of one. They're unique.
They're absolutely, truly unique. And like, I can't think of many more things more cool than like, being the one to formally like first discover like the existence of a pattern within Bitcoin's data layer, and having like ownership of that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty cool.
If you were a data engineer, you have an advantage. You can understand. It's like, hey, I found a pattern. It's like I can actually go and look up how many times that pattern exists, versus someone coming up with a cool name and then a cool number and like a pattern and like just submitting it. Yeah. Right. So there's some engineering happening here. Yeah. Right. Trying to figure out like the best elements for like a particular use case.
Yeah, the reason why I think this is like the overlooked component to the whole framework is because that is like what's new about all this. Yeah. Everyone knows the value of spinning up digital tokens, right? We've been doing it for 15 years. Right. That's what we're even doing again with non-arbitrary token framework, right? Okay, yeah, you deploy this script of logic, and now indexers can pick up, how do I portray an existent supply of this thing? Mm-hmm. That is like what the whole framework does. But like the fact that it's referencing something that is like innately present on Bitcoin, like that's the whole new thing. Yeah. So it makes sense. Like that's like not being like understood as much. Sure. Like when people are out there on Twitter discussing like digital matter, they're completely missing what we're talking about. Yeah,
digital matter isn't everything online, right? That is not digital matter. Yeah. Right? It has you have to understand like the system attribute of Bitcoin, right? Energy input gives you a low entropy state, and you're utilizing that low entropy state, and that's what digital matter theory is about. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that's a good like synopsis, I guess, for as much as we could, as far as like,
I mean, dude,
mentally trying to wrap this up over the weekend. So
I didn't think I'd be using my engineering degree or chemical engineering degree as like on crypto, but here we are.
I'm looking forward to the phase of all this where I can tap into my biology roots and like assemble life.
You know what? That's actually on its way, dude.
I know.
Artificial intelligence.
I totally agree. I'm looking forward to see like a genetic manifestation here. Well, like a non-arbitrary like genetics component.
That reminds me of Platoshi with DNA.
I'm really looking forward to hear from you, Platoshi. Yeah. Because what is it called? BDNA? I'm seeing it out there. Yeah. Like, that was one of the first things I kind of like theoretically assumed would occur, is like some sort of if we're gonna some sort of tie together with artificial intelligence potentially, where we can create like uniqueness among artificial intelligence, 100%. Right? That's non-arbitrary, not something that's just pre-programmed and like non-immutable, right? Yeah, something just like our own personas are,
they're absolutely unique.
Yeah, from each intelligent life form to the next. Yeah, and there's non-arbitrary roots to that, right? Within our like neurochemistry and all the different, neural connections, basically. Yeah. Like that is what makes us. This is how we interpret our reality and such. Right. So artificial intelligence maybe one day can plug into this through some other new sub-framework that,
We're definitely going to hit up Kant's. I was like, dude, check this out.
That would be a nice marriage, dude. Vitensor and DMT.
Dude, that'd be crazy. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at what's happening in the kind of the market. So I'm on Ordinal's wallet. They're killing it, dude. Let me go to the homepage.
Crushing.
Let me go to the homepage. Let's look at total volume.
Jesus Christ, dude. They might as well just call this like DMT wallet from now on. Yeah. It's pretty soon we're going to just take over this whole market.
Yeah, so like. I think DMT's been trading for like two weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks and change. Yeah. And it's almost half of like the volume of Ordi.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, at least on Ordinal's wallet. Yeah. And then we were looking at this. So Baked. So we're like, we're talking about physics, and we're putting all these like, ideas, theories together, and all of a sudden we get like something like this.
That's right.
And I was explaining to you, is like this is a result of the times where internet culture making like
memes, dude.
Memes and stuff that's like supposed to be funny, but if you go back to 1869. There's no evidence of like memes and like comedy.
Yeah, whenever you do a side by side, like here's the digital periodic table that's forming in real time.
Yeah.
Here's the physical periodic table that is concrete in its formality.
Yeah, 150 years old at least.
Yeah, we know what manifested as a result, right? Pretty much all of modern day industry and infrastructure and scientific understanding and all this biology, pharmaceuticals, a lot of things has kind of like stemmed from like the root knowledge of like, what are the foundational building blocks of this existence, right? They're called elements.
Yeah.
Right. So then here it is. Everything around us.
Yeah.
Thanks, chemists and physicists of the past. So like here we are, like setting up that same parallel structuring in the digital universe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're still stuck in like the now. We don't know exactly like 100, 150 years from now what's going to manifest.
And neither did these guys.
And then here we are, dude. It's a fucking high chihuahua.
Yeah.
And that's the hilarious like irony of it all, right?
It is.
Like this is like the first some of the first application of these discovered elements, right? Like what are we actually producing of value? Right?
Yeah. And with any like token protocol, like one of the first things that are produced are like
memes. Yeah, memes. Memes are powerful, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know yet why they're so powerful. I guess because it's like the low hanging fruit, right? Where you don't have to like think too hard.
Yeah.
It's just like, do we all agree? Like this does something to us at an emotional level. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Let's all hop on in.
Right.
Maybe this shit. I mean, there's Doge, and then there's like baked Doge. I don't know,
baked
dude.
Chihuahua specifically.
Baked Doge. I don't know. Will this take off? I don't know. But this was like one of our second token deploys.
Yeah. As
a test token, and like the community's kind of like
they liked it.
They did like it, and they're kind of like doing something with it.
Yeah. So if you wanted up-to-date numbers here for owners for each one, definitely go to mscribe.io.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see like the actual numbers, because I think this one has 700 holders, and then DMT or NAT has 13,000 and change.
Yeah. So these tokens, they behave like all other fungible tokens. They go up and down in market spot valuation.
Yeah. So let me actually bring that up, because here we're going to talk about like the fungible token protocols here. So let's go to NATs.
Mm-hmm.
And once this loads, I can put it next to Unisat here. And 13,400 holders for NAT, and Baked 713.
So that's going up pretty dramatically.
So then I was like, okay, so 13,400. I remember when this first minted out, it had 10,000 holders.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I thought that was pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah. So in about 2 or 3 weeks, it gained 3,000 and change. So I was like, where does it stand in like the grand scheme of things? Like how many, like what's the holder count for the BRC20 world, right? So I go to Unisat, click on holders, and it gives me a list, right? So Sats is king here at 46,000. So this one had like 21 million mints.
Yeah.
This represented over half of all of the inscriptions.
It did.
Yeah.
It was quite the mint fest.
Yeah. And then we have these other ones. A lot of these I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And then we have Ordi, 15,950.
We're right there encroaching on like the freaking heels of Ordi.
Yeah.
The most valuable fungible token deployed on Bitcoin, on top of Bitcoin. We're only a couple thousand holders away.
Yeah.
Right. And from a market cap range perspective, I mean, I think NAT's hovering around 50, 60 million.
Correct.
And Ordi's like hovering around 1 to 1.5 billion. There's quite the discrepancy there as far as like market valuation. So that's kind of like what we've been getting as far as like Twitter bombardment. It's like, dude, we just passed up Rats and holder count. Rats is like 300 million market cap. Like, what's going on here, market?
Yeah.
A lot of it probably has to do with like, the need for more exchange support and such.
Yeah.
This is just part of the token environment, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, so there's BRC20. What about CBRC20?
Yeah.
Right. And here's a list. I think the most popular ones are Moto and Board. So market caps here, 23 million. Can I order this? No, I cannot. And it doesn't say like how many holders, but the market caps here are, I guess, kind of representation of like how many people are involved, right? To a certain extent.
Not necessarily. Like we just said, more holders of NATs than Rats, and market cap completely off skewed.
Right.
So it's kind of difficult to derive like actual market value for these things. Of course, the invisible hand has a mind of its own.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you just kind of like observe these things.
Yeah, and so the highest market cap here is Moto, 23 million. So I think this was like an airdrop to Oshi holders.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the Oshi holders here was like under a K, like 1,000 holders. So, all right, here's another one. Open Stamp, SRC20s. We got Stamp. Let's see. We're looking at, let's do all time here. Stamp and Kevin being the number 1 and number 2. And Kevin was the first one minted here. And we have all time volume, 226 Bitcoin. So we're right there, right?
Yeah.
For stamps.
What's the holder count? Can you click on Stamp and does it show you the holder count?
Yeah, let's see.
4,500 holders, dude.
Yeah.
There you go, dude. Yeah. So shout out to the SRC20 community. We guys hear you guys in the comments always. This is like
Yeah.
it's like this is cool and all, but SRC20s is
yeah.
you guys suck in comparison. We hear you guys.
Yeah. So Kevin, 2,000 holders. So yeah. I mean, these guys make the most noise in our comment section.
They do. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we like UTXOs.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, dude.
And then I was like, okay, so let's go a little bit further outside of Bitcoin. Let's look at Doginals and like the marketplace here, DRC20s. And they have a crap ton of holders, dude.
They do.
Look at this.
45,000.
45,000. And there's one with 26,000. Musk, of course.
Right. 17,000.
Yeah, there's some numbers up here that are pretty large.
See, but yeah, there you go. You got market cap, like not at all representative of like a holder count.
Yeah,
right?
so 45,000 is like 3 million market cap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up there with sats.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's right.
It should be, if there was any sort of like a correlation,
yeah,
that would be $1 billion token right there.
Right.
Which probably the holders of that token vehemently believe one day it will be valued at that.
Man, it has a shot, dude.
Well, there's a market discrepancy, dude. The market just hasn't figured it out.
Yeah. All right, so looking further out, we're looking at Ethereum. Remember Ethereum, my man?
I do remember Ethereum.
All right, and we got ETHscriptions.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
And we got a market cap here, 126 million for ETHs. And does it have a holder account owners? 2,000.
Wow. Again, not much correlation there, is there?
Yeah.
So holder count, I mean, not the most reliable of metrics as far as like identifying, sentiment value, I guess.
It's interesting because like Bitmap keeps growing in holder counts at 33,000.
And the value.
And the value keeps going up. Right.
The more owners, the more network value.
Yeah.
So Bitmap is a very healthy.
I see that's probably our best comparison. Right.
Well, we're like a third of Bitmap. But market cap, yeah, it's probably like a third or fourth away also.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it probably is a pretty good like correlation there.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then track some of their largest tokens. I think it was like Jib.
Good old Jib.
And it has 1,600.
Yeah, these are our fellow TAP tokens, dude.
Yeah, and then if you look at so this is the best place. So to look at DMT NAT, it's like that's the holder count, 13,472.
Yeah, thanks to Benny for the good indexing. solid.
And we
good old track core.
Yeah, we want to bring up CoinGecko's. Like, imagine this scenario, man.
I've been imagining it like on a daily basis, dude.
Right.
Oh, I can't stop thinking about it.
I'll say you go to CoinGecko and it's like, okay, here's the market cap. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so forth.
Yeah, what are these?
Yeah, these are arbitrary tokens.
Well, now they are. Up until about like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, they were tokens.
They were tokens. These were the crypto tokens of today.
Yeah. And so what if in the future it was like, okay, you click on this button here, it says NAT. It's like then we see a list of non-arbitrary tokens.
Yeah.
And potentially NAT being the top one there.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it going to look like once this NAT DMT ecosystem kind of expands? It has 15 years of like generation.
Proliferation?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it needs that long. Maybe like 5 years. Hopefully even less than that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all going to just manifest within the next 12 months. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, again, you're not reinventing anything. It's just you're creating a mirror ecosystem to what already exists, right? You got the arbitrary DeFi, you got the arbitrary GameFi mechanisms, or ecosystems. You got arbitrary this, that, and this, right? All these are all the different utility categories that have manifested from arbitrary token creation. So you would assume at minimum you're going to be able to manifest the same type of like ecosystems around our non-arbitrary assets, most likely.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll unlock some other utility cases that cannot be done from an arbitrary means, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I would imagine you flip that toggle, you have a non-arbitrary cryptocurrency prices by market cap,
mm-hmm.
and then you're going to see a lot of the same like similar-esque like categories.
Yeah.
Like under the their description tags.
Yeah, right.
Now, will that manifest into a $1.7 trillion ecosystem in comparison? That's the big experiment, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, this is an experiment trying to see like what can people come up with when you're injecting this new kind of like angle to token generation and token design.
Yeah,
and to see what happens. I mean, that's the whole point of this.
I totally agree. Yeah, and some of these are gonna like cross paths. These arbitrary and non-arbitrary tokens, they exist together, mm-hmm. right? Because they have different use cases within an ecosystem.
Yeah.
That is what we want to see unlocked. And that's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of comings and goings
mm-hmm.
in order to like truly figure out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, SuperX here. So this is one of the exchanges that are doing DMT, NET. Mm-hmm. And I see here, it keeps hitting like this like resistance line. It keeps 3 times it's hit that resistance line and it goes down from there.
Jeez.
But this is actually kind of like a positive sign, right? Higher lows.
Hey, that's what they say.
Yeah.
That's the meme, according to the meme lines.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that is the theory.
All right, and then finally, let me see if I can bring the next one up. Hold on, let me bring mscribe, and here we go.
What are we looking at here, dude?
All right, so here we're looking at DMT bit. So this is pointing to the same DMT element, DMT 11.element,
mm-hmm.
and it's going through its own minting process. Right? So all the gray ones have been claimed, and the orange ones are wide open.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Are you sure it's not the other way around?
No. The orange ones are open. The gray ones are claimed.
Maybe my glasses are fucking this up. Dude, that's a lot of gray. What do you mean? All those have been claimed?
Yeah.
I don't think so, dude.
Yeah, they have.
No way, dude. Because it's 0.05%.
Well, I think this needs to be kind of updated, but so we're testing this interface right now. And so this should be live here in the next day or so. But yeah, let me go back to kind of block 1. And you'll see here, these have been claimed.
Wow.
And these are wide open.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's claiming happening here, dude. So this is like going to be a permanent fixture to like mscribe's interface.
Yep.
Obviously, Ordinal's wallet kind of like incepted this whole.
Yeah, they did this with BitMap and then NET.
NatMap?
Yeah.
That's what they called it.
Yeah.
But this whole mapping, I guess, of blocks and then I guess displaying block claiming at some point this is going to be utilized from mscribe's perspective as like pattern discovery. Like that's what, because not every single NAT that's deployed is going to have like an existence within every block.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right?
So this is very specific to the DMT element,
which does have one in every block.
It has one in every block. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in the future, you'll see the same sort of grid, but it's going to skip blocks that don't really matter.
Well, yeah, you're gonna like whenever somebody deploys like a new token that has like it's a new element.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be basically like a collective process of discovery, right? Like which of these blocks actually has this pattern, right? Because you're going to have to like inquiry that.
Yeah.
That search. And then if you get a definitive yes, like that is your time to mint, right? Because you've discovered that pattern. Therefore, you can claim that non-arbitrary token.
That's right. That's right.
That is what's unique to mscribe. And yeah, that's in the works. I think we should have those things up and running coming up soon.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Just wanted to show some updates here and kind of talk about everything we've been seeing in the market.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for us. If we miss anything as far as DMT, NAT goes, you guys are going to be launching a token. Let us know. We'd like to know about it and see what you guys are doing. Make sure everything's being deployed properly.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I guess that's it.
That's it.
All right. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.